Hello, guys. How you guys doing? Jay's Jets. I got my boy Long Beach Joe Jets here. This guy I've been watching for a long time, and it's great to have him on the live stream, my first live stream. And I appreciate you coming out and doing this with me.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, salutes to everybody. Salutes to you as well, Jays. Wanted me to come on by and talk Jets with you. I'm all about that. For those of you that may not know who I am, name is Long Beach Joe Jets. We do live radio shows on my channel. We also do live watch-alongs as well. We talk about the Jets. Also drop Jets content as well. So if you could come on by, type in your YouTube Long Beach Joe Jets and come on and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so when I post content, y'all be in the know. You can also come by my social media pages as well. My Facebook is Long Beach Joe Show, Long Beach Joe Show. Type that on in Facebook. Come on by and, follow that page and let me know what you think about my content. My Twitter as well is at The Long Beach Joe, at The Long Beach Joe on Twitter. Let's go back and forth and talk about this football team.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How about them Bills? How about them Bills?
Hey, listen, we took care of business. And that was a great win for the Jets. Seeing the team go out there and fight and push through all the adversity and through all the things that was going on throughout that game, watching us find our way back into it, take the lead. And then for me, the last drive, that was unbelievable. To run the football down the Bills' throats. This is a team that's a Super Bowl contender. Okay, let's not be confused. A lot of people have them picked to be in the Super Bowl. Some people actually have them picked to win the Super Bowl. And, we went in there and we handled business. We ran the football down their throats to drain the clock all the way down, ended up getting that field goal, and our defense was able to close it out. That was a big win for the New York Jets.
Really big. And I saw a stat somewhere that said it was all runs.
Mm-hmm.
That O-line, that
Mm-hmm.
O-line, that Nate Herbig was a big pickup.
Yep.
When AVT had to keep switching, Becton went down, Fant went down. Then we had to
Mm-hmm.
keep moving AVT, moving from left tackle to right tackle. Is that line is looking good for us.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've had a lot of guys go down, like you said, as well. From Becton going down early to us picking up Dwayne Brown. Dwayne Brown was sitting down with a shoulder injury for a minute, right? And like you said, ATV was switching around from left tackle to right tackle. We saw Max Mitchell go down as well at right tackle, which is the reason why, AVT went, over to right tackle because Dwayne Brown was able to come back. We also saw George Fant go down as well on this offensive line. So to see those guys just continue to push, continue to fight, like you said, AVT's gone down. We got Cedric Odebushi out there. We got Nate Herbig out there playing right guard. Cedric's at right tackle. This team is just playing, man. They're just playing. And I think the biggest thing as well that people are not talking about is our coaching staff. How well our coaching staff is doing. Sulla, Albridge, that defense is flying around, man, and making plays left and right. We talk about our pass rush being effective this year. That's huge. From Carl Lawson to Quinnen Williams and Rankins. I know who's going to be out with that elbow injury. I think they said like 4 to 6 weeks, but I think he's saying he might come back sooner to that. But as of right now, it's 4 to 6 weeks. But we have other guys that can step up as well that have been making plays. Solomon Thomas. You look at all the guys, even Jermaine Johnson, him coming back off that ankle injury. He had some big plays against the Bills as well. Had a big sack on Josh Allen, which halted one of their drives. You look at Bryce Huff as well, a guy that was inactive for quite a bit to start the season. Now, ever since he's been made active, that guy has really added something to the Jets pass rush here. So when you watch us go out there, man, our coaching staff is really putting guys in positions to make plays, especially, again, our offensive. Mike LaFleur called a very good game against the Bills. That's a really good defense. And I know people just want to kind of overlook that for some reason now in the media when we talk about this. And then the Jets beating them. But that defense is phenomenal. And Mike LaFleur found a way to kind of tiptoe around a lot of things that they do well to gain yards. He called a lot of really good run calls as well. And like I said, that final drive for me, Mike LaFleur really sealed the deal there.
Mike LaFleur, I like how they started doing the fast passing game because I feel like when Zach's in the pocket and he's sitting, he feels the pressure and then he wants to run. He starts doing that nervous scrambling. I like to say nervous scrambling, and then he runs into a defensive guy.
Yeah.
So that quick passing game was that helped us win. That got us the ball moving down the field. And the Bills wasn't expecting that. They was expecting that Von Miller was gonna eat up Zach Wilson and he's gonna stand in the pocket, run around, he's gonna fumble, But that's what our defense did to Josh. If you think about it, if Josh was doing the quick passes, they would have got it. But our defense was knocking him down. He was standing in the pocket. He was getting frantic back there. And that defensive line is we definitely have a top 10 defense, if not the best defense in the league.
Yeah, and it's not just a defensive line. Our secondary is unbelievable. Sauce. Man, look, for a rookie, and I don't like to hand out like these type of accolades for rookies, but I'm telling you, this dude is playing like a Pro Bowl All-Pro corner already in this league. I'm telling you, he's unbelievable for a rookie to come out and do the things that he's doing, he's going against a top wide receiver every week. He's not shying away from the challenge. He's not, he's going out there and going toe-to-toe with these guys who's ever on his side, and he's not flinching at all, and he's playing well. He's locking guys down. These are veteran wide receivers that he's going against that know every trick in the book, and he's going toe-to-toe with them. So I love that. DJ Reed as well. A lot of people don't talk about him because of how well Sauce is playing. DJ Reed is unbelievable. He's played very well this year too. He made a lot of key plays against the Bills too. Jordan Whitehead there at safety. We saw him have an interception in that game too. You almost had another one too that kind of got through his hands. But Jordan Whitehead has been playing phenomenal since the beginning of the season. So our secondary is making plays too. A lot of the sacks that we have this year, yes, our pass rush is solid, but a lot of these is coverage sacks. A lot of these sacks are there's nobody open and the quarterback can't get the ball. And before you know it, boom, somebody hits, is bringing down the opposing quarterback. So, yeah, our secondary, I think, has played very well. CJ Mosley, too, at linebacker, I think has been unbelievable this year. He's played well, too. So when you look at the back half of our defense, they've really stepped up and been able to really put some things together as well. And even going back to the offensive side of the ball, our running game has been, solid, really solid, especially, again, Breece Hall went down and we, everybody was like, oh, man, this offense is really going to take a hit. Listen, in that game, Michael Carter and James Robinson, who we just picked up, they stepped up and played well. They stepped up and played very well. I think they combined on the day for like 120-something yards rushing on the ground. And Michael Carter had that rushing touchdown as well. So when we can run the ball effectively, especially in this scheme, this Shanahan scheme, which is all about running the ball, it kind of takes the load off of Zach Wilson. So we're not asking Zach to play hero ball because we all know that when we ask him to do that, and you kind of touched on it, him running around because he's just trying to do something, make some type of play to keep us on the field. When we don't ask him to do those things, I think is when you see more success. And that's what I kind of try to preach to a lot of Jets fans. They want to see him throw for 400 and something yards. This scheme's not really built for a quarterback to have to do that week in and week out. It's really built for you to run the football effectively, hit your check downs, get the ball to guys in space, and allow those guys to go out there and do what makes them, get those yards in space and do what they need to do. You look at this scheme, this same stuff they ran in with the 49ers. Jimmy Garoppolo is not a good quarterback. He sucks. But we saw him have big success in this scheme because that's all he was asked to do. And so if we can run the football effectively, if we can, put those 3rd and 2s, those 3rd and 3s, those short conversion, short third downs together, man, I'm telling you, we're going to be a team to be reckoned with, especially with our defense playing the way that they do.
Our defense is playing lights out, keeping us in games. Takeaways, like it's something I haven't seen. I've only been a Jets fan for, I could say, 10 years, but it's something I've only seen for maybe when we had Wilkerson on the team. I mean, yep.
We look exactly how we did, and this is what I told people when Sulla got here, because I had so many conversations going back and forth with so many Jets fans. And the first thing I said, like, I live on the West Coast. For y'all that don't know, that's where Long Beach comes from. I'm from Long Beach, California. Okay, that's where I grew up. This is what it's all about. All right, the West Coast is the best coast. I'm just keeping it real with y'all. Right? No need to get crazy. No need to get crazy. You know what I mean? I'm keeping it real. All right, no need to get crazy. But listen, I watched the Niners. I'm forced to. I told people we're gonna run the ball. This is gonna be one of the most boring, successful offenses that we've ever had. We're going to run the ball down people's throats. We're going to be physical up front. We're not going to ask our quarterback to do too much, but our defense has got to step up. And I think once we got the pieces, particularly in this season, now we're seeing we finally have the pieces to properly run the defense. We finally have a pass rusher. We have multiple pass rushers now, but we finally have a pass rusher that's going to be able to go out there and really get pressure. And, we finally have an offense that's built to properly run the football. We really recommitted this season to doing that. I know we had a lot of injuries up front on our offensive line, but, we went and got Jeremy Ruckert. We drafted Breece Hall this year. All that stuff was to make sure that we'd be able to run the football effectively. We dramatically upgraded our tight end position as well. We're bringing in CJ Uzama, going to get Tyler Conklin. Those are guys that are also pass threats as well as guys that can block. So recommitting to running the football, you see a change in the Jets offense where now we can go out there and get physical with people when it gets cold. You look at a lot of these teams that are constantly competing, they can run the ball. The Bills, we just beat them. They can run the ball, dog. Like they can run the ball. That's one of their calling cards, whether it be Josh Allen or whether it be, Singletary. So now we can match up with a lot of teams because we can do a lot of those things as well now. So things are looking good, man. I'm excited about this football team. Sky's the limit right now. I just, want us to come out of the bye. We're going into the bye now. I want us to come out this bye ready to go and ready for the next challenge.
Sky's the limit. You just brought me to the next point I was going to say is, do you think after this bye week, we can make the playoffs? Do you think that's a reasonable, like Jets fans, the realistic, positive Jets fans out there, do you think that's something they can look forward to after the bye week?
I originally, when the season started, I told everybody I thought the New York Jets would be 10-7. And I think that that's going to be good enough to get us into the playoffs. The way that we're looking right now, if we keep playing like this and we keep going out there, being physical, playing unbelievably tough-nosed defense, running the football effectively, I do think the New York Jets can be a playoff team. Yes, if we continue to play like this. But I'm a guy that likes to go game by game, okay? Week by week, all right? Because if you would have asked this after that game in Denver, I'm sure a lot of people's thoughts on the quarterback and all, or even after the game after the Patriots, a lot of people's thoughts would have been a bit different, right? But I do think that the New York Jets, I will say this, do have a lot of traits of playoff teams. Like I said, when you can run the ball effectively in this league, I mean, we just ran we ran for over, I think it was 174 yards on the ground against the Bills. When you can do that against those type of defenses, I'm telling you, sky's the limit. When you can run on those type of, I mean, come on, they got Von Miller, they got Greg Rousseau, they got guys out the wazoo that can, they got a front. They're known for just how tough their defense is. But when you can go out there and be as effective as we were against them, and then they only score 17 with all the weapons that they have, that's playoff caliber football. What we did against them was playoff caliber football. So, I want to go week by week, but I will say the New York Jets are looking good, and we look like we have a very solid chance of making the playoffs if we continue to do the things we're doing.
That's true. That's true. I think also is if Zach keeps doing, like, not making mistakes, continue being the game manager, and even sometimes, do the over and beyond, but do it successfully, like we saw in the Titans game. And like, if he can keep on improving, maturing, and we can make it far with good quarterback play, definitely. And because our defense is solid. How do you feel about Nathan Shepard? Because I have a personal vendetta against him. I don't like him.
Oh, well, look, I think that Nathan Shepard's okay. I don't think that he's like, the end all be all to our, defensive line, rotation here. But I think he's a solid guy that can get into the rotation and handle business. That's what I think Nathan Shepard is. We have, again, with Rankins going down, I think he's going to, definitely get more of a spotlight within the rotation. But he's kind of like a guy that just does what the coaches asked him to do. I know that there was a lot of people that were shocked that he made the team because you had guys like Tenzel Smart, who was playing very well in the preseason, who made a lot of plays. And he's a guy that I think they'll call up and kind of look at as well, with Rankins going to be missing either, the 4 to 6 weeks that right now is the diagnosis for that elbow injury. So he's a guy that they're probably going to call up as well. But I'll tell you what, Nathan Shepard is here, and he's a guy that's going to go out there and play. I think he's decent, though. I think he's a guy that can hold the fort.
That's good. Elijah Moore, Robert Saleh came out saying he's going to the slot.
Mm-hmm.
I was seeing on Twitter after what was it the game that he came back? You remember the game he came back to? I forgot the game he came back.
It was the Patriots game. It was the Patriots game because he was out against Denver, and
he was
we
out
took back
against
in.
Denver. He came back
Yeah, it
to
was the
Patriots
Patriots
game.
game. Yep.
There was fans mad that we wasn't giving him the ball, saying that we need to grow up while we doing tick for tack with him. And personally, I liked it because you got a guy like Denzel Mims who went the right route, told his agent what he wanted, didn't go on social media, didn't after a 3-game win streak. I talked about it in the video. 3-game win streak. You're being selfish on Twitter. How does that make you look? So then I like what they did. I feel like, but then also I be seeing him during the game. I don't watch all 22 yet, but I'm trying to get into that. But like during the routes that I see him run, he doesn't look wide open to me. There was a route I saw him run. He got pushed to the ground. So I'm like, you wanna cry wolf, but at the same time, it's not like you're wide open. How you feel about him moving to the slot?
Yeah, well, me personally, I think that's where he should have kind of been doing his work this whole time, especially again with Corey Davis missing as much time as he's missed, so far with that knee injury. And we'll figure out what's going on with him. But that's where I think Elijah Moore would shine in this offense. He's not. If you look at Garrett Wilson and Denzel Mims, these guys are like long, lanky guys that can go up and get the football, kind of bigger guys. Elijah Moore is not that. He's kind of like more of like the Deebo Samuel kind of role that I think, because Deebo Samuel, again, this offense, same thing they run with the Niners. You look at Deebo Samuel, he's kind of moved around, but the slot is, they put him out there and he really becomes a weapon X from there. And I thought that's what Elijah Moore was going to do more of. Even if you go back into I think it was a game against the Dolphins last year where he went off. A lot of his work in that game was from the slot. So when they said, hey, we're going to move him to the slot, I just thought, shouldn't y'all have kind of been putting him there anyway? Isn't that kind of what we talked about? That was the talk when they drafted him was, oh man, Elijah Moore is going to be in a slot. He's going to be, why is he playing outside? Like he's not, even the routes that they had him running, these go routes, like he was this big wide receiver, he's not going to go up and get it over a lot of these corners. So working from the slot, I think is going to absolutely it should be a benefit for him where he can definitely do his work and get stuff in. We should be working to get him the football. This guy that's immensely talented. Listen, I get the trade request, especially at the time, again, we were on that winning streak. Things were looking good. He was talking about not wanting to sacrifice his numbers, but there was other guys on this team that were sacrificing their numbers, like CJ Uzomah, who's coming off one of the better, career years that he had last season. This season, he isn't getting nearly as many targets as he was last season, where he was balling with the team that he was on. And he's just going out there blocking every game because that's what they're acting to do because we're running the football so effectively. And we're just keep riding the hot hand. We're just keep riding the thing that's really working for us. So, look, I get a lot of Jets fans are upset with him. I was upset with him as well. But I want to see this guy utilized, not just because I want to see him go out there and be able to play to his full potential and give us everything that he's got. He's a guy that we drafted, especially high in the second round. He's got to work out because if this guy doesn't pan and he busts out, we just wasted a second round pick, right? At the same time, though, bro, this is about Zach Wilson. I need Zach Wilson to have every single weapon available on par. Let's go. I need you to be 100%. I need you to be a part of the offense. I need you and your skill set to be utilized because everything that we have here offensively is for Zach Wilson. It's for Zach Wilson. Everything. If he's going to be our franchise quarterback, if he's the guy who we think he's going to be, then I need to know everything about that guy, which means I need every weapon out there possible so that he can make the throws. Because I need to know at the end of year 3 or going into year 3, right? Because this is year 2. I need to going into year 3, who are you? Do you suck? Because if you suck and you're trash, I know that. Now I can start planning for the future. This is something a lot of Jets fans are not thinking about. This is about Zach Wilson. Year 2 is about seeing what Zach Wilson has and what he can bring to the table. I need to know what you are as a quarterback. Are you closer to being Ryan Leaf or are you closer to being Peyton Manning? I need to know because that is huge for the New York Jets' future. Because if you don't know who this guy is and you end up paying him a lot of money and then you find out he sucks, boy, let me tell you something. You gonna be in a you. Woo, you guys think the circus that we just came from was bad? Boy, investing a lot of money in bad quarterbacks in this NFL will put you in a lot of trouble. So that's what it's all about. I understand that Jets fans are upset with Elijah Moore. I get it, right? I was furious with the guy. But Mike LaFleur has got to find ways to get this guy the football. In some ways, I do understand his frustrations because there also have been times during this year where I saw it against Denver. I saw it against the Patriots, where not against Denver because he wasn't in Denver, but against the Patriots, where he was running wide open. Against Denver, I saw guys that were running wide open at times, and Zach was missing them because he was spinning around, running backwards, throwing the ball. Just doing crazy stuff. We all saw the crazy stuff, especially
trying to get it out of bounds.
Yeah, it was just like wild stuff that he was doing, and everybody was like, "What are you doing?" And a lot of that stuff and even the coaching staff came out and said, "Hey, listen, he's got to start making the boring plays." But that's something that they talked about with him last season as well, making the boring plays. Just check the ball down, get the ball to the guy that's running across the middle. He's in space, hit him, and let him do the work. We don't need you trying to run outside and throw a ball 40 yards down the field to a guy that's double covered because you want to score right now. That's not always the right thing to do. And so in some instances, I see what Elijah Moore is frustrated about because, again, there's been times this season when he's been open and he's just not getting the football. But again, that kind of goes with the name of the game. Sometimes you're just not going to get the ball. And especially with the running game working as well as it has been, yeah, your opportunities are going to get cut because Breece Hall at the time was running well, but now Michael Carter's running well. James Robinson, you getting this guy the ball after contact, he's going as well. We saw that in the Bills game where he was bouncing off of guys and finding ways to get 7-8 yards, after the contact. So yeah, your opportunity is going to get cut, but you just got to kind of roll with the punches there. So Elijah Moore needs to get the ball more. Mike LaFleur needs to find a way, even if we're just doing handoffs to him, let him get the ball and let him go. There should be design plays to get Elijah Moore the ball in his hands because he's that talented. I understand everybody can't stand him, but the talent is there, and we've seen it. We've seen that talent. So they've got to find a way to effectively get the ball in his hands if they can.
And you think about the more weapons you got, the more the defense has to worry about everyone. Because sometimes you don't want people to start double teaming Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
We throw most of our passes to the Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
With Corey out, you don't know. Hopefully he comes back after the bye, which they say he might. But Garrett Wilson's our number one threat right now on offense. It was Breece Hall. Can't rely on running that much anymore. But if he comes back, then now it leaves the field open for a lot more to happen.
Yeah. And Garrett Wilson, that guy's phenomenal. Like phenomenal.
Talk about a draft pick hit.
Man. I mean, he's just doing work. And again, he's a rookie, another rookie coming in and giving us just immediate impact. I mean, man, he can go up and he can do it all. He can go up and get the football. He runs great routes. He's got great hands. We've seen him make catches in traffic where it was like, whoa, he'll take a hit. He'll pop right back up. He's fiercely competitive, a strong guy as well. He's willing to give everything, give it all. In the last game, he almost fumbled with that weird pumping, but he was able to get back down there and get on the football. But, Garrett Wilson, and he's a team guy. You hear him talk about the game, talk about the team. He wants to give everything that he can. Whatever he can contribute, he'll contribute in any way possible for the Jets to get a W, whether it's him getting no catches and just blocking or getting, 10, 15 catches and doing whatever he's got. He's with it all. So I love his attitude. I love his competitiveness, and I love what he brings to the team.
Like plenty of people said before, like this is definitely the best draft. It's gonna help us move along in many of years to come. And it's this is our season. This is our season. The amount of wins that we were able to squeak out. We talked about the game with the Browns. That happens the chances were so low. They said 0.1 chance that was happening. We did that. There's no excuse that we don't go to the playoffs. I know you are one game type of guy, but I feel like there's no reason with all the stuff that's trending upwards, even though we had some injuries, but we have a lot of good depth. That's not going to set us back too far. I believe there's no reason why it's not our season. Josh Allen, he got injured. They're talking about, he may play against the Vikings or may not, but he's dealing with that tear in his elbow. That's something to look at, with us a game and a half behind him, or a game behind him, or a game behind him, or a half a game.
I think we're. I'm not sure. I think we're somewhere around that, like a game or game up or game down, something like that.
So we have a chance to take, the lead in our division. So that's something to look at.
Yeah, look, like I said, I'm a game by game guy. There's still a lot of football left to be played. I know everyone's looking at the playoffs already, but there's still a lot of football left to be played. But I will say this. Coming out of this bye, we're actually getting more healthy because we're supposed to have Max Mitchell back, which we'll figure out what happens with that right tackle spot. Do they immediately implement him back at right tackle where he was another rookie who was playing very well for us stepping in? And it was crazy with Max Mitchell because nobody thought that he would even be starting the first year because they were just like, oh, we'll get him into the system. He's a guy that can play some tackle spot here, but he can play other positions, but tackle is probably where he's going to fit, but he lacks strength. And there was a lot of things that they were saying that he lacked that he needs to work on. Okay, well, we implement him, and him and ATV, when they started, before ATV went down and he went down with the injuries, they were the better side of the offensive line. It was Tomlinson and Fant that was struggling on the left side. They couldn't get it together over there. Those guys were just letting everybody buy him, So when you look at the situation, you're getting Max Mitchell back, you're getting Fant back. We'll figure out, what happens with him too. Our offensive line gets better because if they move on from Cedric and sit him down, and then you're able to kind of upgrade your right tackle there, we're going to be all right. So we're coming out of that bye a little bit healthier, and also guys get to rest, kind of get their bodies together and all that stuff. We're coming out that bye, and we can come out of there screaming. So I like where we're going. I like the outlook of our team. But again, I know people want to talk playoffs. I'm ready to go week by week. You know what I'm
saying? It's not bad. Week by week is a smart thing to do because us, we like to get ahead of ourselves sometimes, especially as Jets fans. We were just talking about signing Lamar Jackson, if you remember that. Lamar Jackson. So we got to take it, step by and follow Robert Saleh. We got to take it step by step. You got a point. You got a point. Yeah. How do you feel about the Patriots? They were trending down. Now they're trending back up. But it feels like you just can't beat Bill Belichick. He's always gonna have a plan, especially against Zach, a Jets quarterback since the recent years. Sam Darnold, awful games against Patriots. Zach, he hasn't played good against the Patriots, even when all the Jets fans' favorite, Mike White, he wasn't doing good against the Patriots. So what do you think about the Patriots? Their defense is hard.
Man, I mean, you look at what they bring to the table with Judon, Bentley, all those guys. The thing is, against the Patriots, you have to be disciplined and you have to be completely prepared, which is tough because that coaching staff is so good. Even when people look at their talent and don't believe that they have the talent necessary to win in this league or produce, they always do. I remember for years, people would be like, when Tom, even, after Tom left, oh, the Patriots aren't going to make the playoffs. They suck. Oh, this is the year the Patriots fall off. And they would find some way, somehow, to make a deep run into the playoffs. And there was like 4 or 5 years running where people said that the Patriots were done. They're not going to make the playoffs. This might be the year Belichick gets fired. And then he would, rip off a solid run in the playoffs and then everybody would be quiet again. You have to go in there and take care of and take advantage, of every single moment. You go back to that Patriots game, man, that before the half, where they were able to kind of get things together and rally, that hurt us right off the bat. Like you can't get into those situations. So we have to go. We can beat the Patriots. Beating the Patriots, it just takes complete focus, and you have to go out there and execute because they're going to execute any chance that they have to take, victory out of the jaws of defeat. They will do. Anytime that there is critical plays, critical moments, they always find a way to get a W out of those critical moments. They're the kings of situational football. That is literally how they've won their Super Bowls. That's how they've made their runs in the playoffs. That's how they built those dynasties. They dominate in situational football. They know the right calls to make every time, and they execute to a T. So you have to go in there and be disciplined against them as well and execute better than them. That's what it takes to beat the Patriots.
Yep. Yo, what's up, Brandon? Thanks for joining the stream. How you doing? Do you think Zach's the guy?
Do I think that Zach's the guy?
Yeah.
To this point, yeah. I'm a big believer in Zach Wilson. I think that he has the ability. I think that he has a talent. I think that he has it upstairs. He's just got to put it together. I think, again, we talked about it earlier. The biggest thing with Zach that I see is he's got to stop thinking, I've got to make the big play. He's got to stop doing that. When Zach just goes out there, plays free flowing, and just making the throws, gets his throws on stride, do his thing. Because even again in the Bills in that win, there were throws there. That third down throw to Mims where he threw it really high. If he gets that ball just down a couple inches and hits Denzel Mims, that's a first down, and that drive probably ends up in a touchdown. You know, it's just like the little stuff like that. If he can kind of fine tune that stuff, I think Zach has more than enough ability. We have more than enough weapons for him to be successful here. He's just got to learn how to settle in games, how to settle himself down and get things going. Stop trying to run outside and be a gunslinger all the time, because that will get you destroyed in this league. And we've seen that when Zach is asked, or when Zach just goes out there and does those things, just settles, you know, play the pitch and catch game. You look at the game in Green Bay, right? Everybody talked about, oh, well, Zach, you know, he did his thing. Zach played well in that game. He found Breece Hall, found the guy that was run the system, do what the system tells you. Oh, here you go, Breece. Boom, touchdown. Oh, here you go. Boom, boom, touchdown. Like that was easy stuff. And so if he can just continue that and continue forward, we'll be fine. I do believe in Zach Wilson. I'm a big believer. Like I said, I love the guy's arm strength, but he's got to settle down and just cut out the hero ball stuff. When he does that, I'm telling you, he'll be good to go.
Definitely. People are also forgetting this was like his 19th game.
Yeah.
Like he was injured at the beginning of this season. He's injured in the middle of last season.
Mm-hmm.
He's still making rookie mistakes. And I think because our team is doing so good, many of our fans are wanting it to work right now. You forget his process. They want to put in Mike White. They want to they want to start Streveler. I like Streveler too, but that's reaching for it. You know, they want to win right now. But like Brandon said in the chat, when Breece Hall comes back, and it's gonna help with him handing off the ball, getting more confident. He's just gonna be throwing. He's gonna get more confidence in the system.
Well, I think here's the thing: is I think a lot of Jets fans, and it's no disrespect to anybody, because I'm just a fan myself, and I go back and forth again with a lot of Jets fans, and I think that their measure for a quarterback in this league is you have to throw for 300 yards every game to be successful. That's not in this system. That's not what every quarterback has to do, and that's not what he has to do either. Again, I go back to that Green Bay game. Played phenomenally in that game. He found the open guy. He hit him, hit the guy consistently. Again, it was Breece Hall he was hitting. I think Breece Hall had over 100 yards in that game rushing, but he also had quite a bit of yards as well, moving around and receiving. He was finding guys left and right. So it's like, hey, if that's what's working, then keep doing it. But we also saw that game against the Steelers as well, where Zach came out and literally won us that game in the fourth quarter with his arm. Nothing was working. The running game was not working. He was running around like crazy, avoiding guys. We see his elusiveness. He can get away from tacklers. He can get away from guys that's trying to grab him, all that stuff. But there's times where he's just got to go back and play within the system. And I think for him, that kind of is the up and down thing. We saw that this season where, again, the Steelers game, he's running around doing his thing. Then he comes back and, he's looking okay against the Packers. And then You go forward, he has a bad game against Denver where he's just looking real off and throwing footballs where they don't belong, trying to force stuff. Then he had an even worse game against the Patriots, where kind of had everybody looking crazy. Then he came back and settled himself against the Bills and just did what it took, made the throws when they were there. He had a big throw on third down to Mims in that Bills game that was huge, that converted for us and kept our drive going to get that field goal. So he's just got to settle. Just got to settle down. Again, there's a lot of football left as well to really get more of the full picture on him. But so far, I think that Zach Wilson's okay. He's just gotta reel it in. Stop with the hero ball, settle down, and everything will be all right.
That's true. That's true. I feel like also he's with more interceptions, he's going to understand that, you know, he needs to be better. You on a team like when Sam Darnold with the Jets back, you know, a couple years ago, the team wasn't doing that much around him. He didn't have the urgency, I felt like, to grow up, you know, get better. But when you got Sauce Gardner making plays, Garrett Wilson making plays, Elijah Moore complaining, you got your defense making plays, you're like, oh, okay, I gotta get better. Because you know, quarterbacks in this league, they're on a shorter leash now. I feel like they got 2-3 years to do something, and if they don't, next draft prospect.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like I said, this is year 2 for Zach, and I think that we're seeing him continue on, and I think as he continues on in the system, as he continues to learn things, as he continues to find his weapons, like I talked about, you know, him finding Breece Hall, you know, constantly coming out that backfield. I think that was because I know Breece ran for quite a bit of yards against the Packers. I think he did that against the Dolphins as well. Finding Breece Hall, finding his backs, finding guys in space. As he continues to work his thing, continues to work his magic, continues to learn in this league, I think he'll be solid. He'll be solid. I just think a lot of Jets fans are expecting him to continue to come on, and he's going to find his way. But again, it's all about settling as well within the offense, figuring things out, and then going for it. And I think he's going to be all right. He's going to be all right.
How long do you realistically give him? Do you give him a full year 3, or you cut it short?
No, yeah, I think we definitely give him a full year 3. You have to, you know, at least give the guy 3 years to figure out, unless he just is horrific. And I'm talking bad. I'm talking like, I can't. Who's a really bad quarterback? Somebody that's just real. I can't even think of like the
one who was on the Cardinals, who just got drafted, who was drafted by the Cardinals.
Rosen.
Yeah, Josh Rosen.
Okay, like yeah. Unless he's like even Josh had like flashes, but unless it's just a guy where he's just horrific. I'm talking about horrific. That's when you're like, okay, but Zach has not been horrific consistently. He's had bad games, like we just talked about. You know, Denver was a bad game. The Patriots, that was a bad game. But then he'll come out and play solidly against the Bills. You know, it's just like, so you see that up and down where it's like, okay, you know, he's playing, but he's just got to put more of those things together. And I think the big thing for Zach Wilson, the word is consistency. He's got to be more consistent. That's the big thing with him. If he can be consistent, boy, I'm telling you, it's gonna really push us forward. So I think again, we'll see as the season continues on. I think that Zach has had some great games. He has had some great games this year. He's had some bad games too, but he's had some great games where he's shown us. Like I just talked about that Steelers game, man. Whoa, that was just like he literally won us that game single-handedly. That he literally went out there and took control and won us the game. That quarterback, Zach Wilson, went out there and willed the Jets to a victory. That's without a shadow of a doubt, without a fact, right? But he's just got to be consistent in his play, be concise, and be smart with the ball. That's it.
Brandon said Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, he had some flashes from a Panthers fan. Oh, okay. How do you feel about the Panthers?
Well, you know, they're breaking things down. I know they just got rid of McCaffrey. Robbie Anderson has moved on as well. I forgot where didn't they send him to the Cardinals? I think it was. They sent him somewhere. So that team's figuring things out. They just fired Rule as well and some guys off of his staff. So that team's figuring things out. And I wish them the best. But I tell you what, the Jets, we're going upward. Okay. We're going upward. And I'm excited about this football team, man.
I'm excited too. I feel like nothing could beat this draft. This draft was everything. I went to the Jets draft party, and there was, people wanting to take, they wanted to take Garrett at 4. And I was just like, I said, nah, we need to shut down corners. I'm tired of seeing Bryce Hall, Mullet, who we had all these cornerbacks, second, third name quarterbacks, Blesson Austin. I was like, okay, I need a top name. All the top teams have a top cornerback. Look at LA. They got Ramsey. What's another team that has a top cornerback? There.
I mean, the Dolphins got Howard. There's a lot of guys.
Yeah, Dolphins really got Howard. All over the place. Cowboys, they got Diggs. Like, we need top teams have top players at premier positions.
Premium positions, yeah.
I thought Sauce was the best person to take at 4. You liked everyone we took. Did you want someone else in a different position, or you thought the draft went perfectly?
Man, initially I really wanted us to take Kayvon Thibodeaux. I was big on Kayvon Thibodeaux, especially at 4. I was huge on Kayvon Thibodeaux. I really wanted the guy. But when we took Sauce, I wasn't upset. I'm not upset at anybody that we drafted, honestly. I really wasn't. Breece Hall, I'll tell you what. When we took Sauce, I was like, okay, I got it. Even though there were still guys on the board I thought we would go after. I was like, okay, I get it. That's cool. At 10, I thought Jermaine Johnson was a lock. I was hyped. We took Garrett Wilson. I still wasn't upset with that because I understood, hey, we need more weapons. We could add more weapons. We got Zach Wilson. He's going in year 2. We need to figure things out. But after that, I was like, man, where was our pass rush going to come from? This is before Carl Lawson came back. We were still trying to see if when he was going to come back, what was happening. But us trading back up to get Jermaine Johnson, I thought was phenomenal. That was a great move. Us taking Breece Hall in the second, I was a little shocked that we took a running back, but the second that name was called, I knew exactly what they were doing. I started telling everybody, we're about to run the football this year, dog. You guys are about to see the offense that I told y'all about a year ago, because I've been watching the Niners for pretty much all my life. They play out, they out here, they on TV out here constantly, which is, oh my goodness, it's annoying, but it is what it is. So I get to watch these guys all the time. I'm kind of forced to, and that's all they do. They run the most boring offense, and they run the ball. They're near the top of the league every year in rushing. And once they took Breece, I said, okay, we got Breece, Michael Carter, Ty Johnson is still here, and Knight was here. And I was like, man, we about to run the ball. This is about to be serious, especially after we got Rucker. I said, okay, we got 3 tight ends. Like, Rucker is one of the better run blocker tight ends in the draft. All right, we about to run the football, and this offense is about to be serious. So I was excited. I'm excited about everybody we took. I thought that he did a great job in this draft, especially, again, moving up the board. And we saw him move up the board for next to nothing to get ATV, who was, I'm a big USC guy. I'm going to just put that out there. All right, I'm a big USC guy. Fight on. And I was telling people about ATV coming out. I just didn't think we were going to get him. And we did. And I was just beside myself when he made that move to go up and get ATV. So I think that Joe Douglas did a phenomenal job in this draft, and it's showing, because those guys are guys that are going out there and immediately contributing, along with some of the veteran pickups that we saw in the offseason as well in free agency.
Exactly. Joe is the dude. I mean, if all things fail, I know Joe's going to do his work. You also think about the people he picked up behind the corners, like Nate Herbert, Quincy Williams, JFM even. So like, you got, like, he does his work, he does his due diligence, and he finds people that not, you don't think about at first, but when you see him on the field, like, you like, wow, okay, I see what he did there. He did that.
Yeah. And even some of the trades that he's made, we've seen definitely benefit the New York Jets. I was crushed for talking about getting rid of Jamal Adams. I remember that like it was yesterday when I was telling people that he needed to go. I told people that I did. I was the first guy. I know that there's a lot of people that want to try to, say that. Listen, I remember pretty much at the beginning of the season, I was telling people that Jamal Adams was a goner because I looked at the landscape of our football team and I realized he does not play a premium position. I knew that we were going to be bad that year because I could not stand that we hired Adam Gase. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that this franchise has ever made in our franchise history was hiring Adam Gase because he destroyed everything from a coaching standpoint. You couldn't evaluate talent with him. You couldn't go forward with whatever he brought in because you didn't know what those guys were. And he literally, and we saw him literally destroy the Dolphins and their team chemistry, franchise, everything. Even the owner wanted him. The owner got him out of there as quickly as possible, right? He literally set off a nuclear bomb in that locker room that had a bunch of players screaming to get out of there. And it took them a minute to really find a resolve there and get things back together. And you saw him come here and pretty much do the same thing. There were players that did not want to be here anymore, that were screaming to move on, that wanted to get out of here. Guys speaking out, leaking stuff to the media. You saw Jamal Adams again, our losing streak and all that stuff was part of it, but I just knew that he was not going to be here for the long haul. And I remember telling people we need to trade him and trade him now, get him out of here. Because if we wait, I'm telling you, I didn't think we were going to get the capital he did. Well, we ended up trading Jamal Adams, and I told people that he was an overrated box safety. And when he went to Seattle, you see that's exactly what he is. We got 2 first-round picks for that guy. 2 first-round picks and some change for an overrated box safety. Like that trade by itself is insane. You look at some of the trades that Joe Douglas has made. Dude, he got capital back for Brian Cashman. That guy never played. He was always injured here. He never played. I don't think he ever played a full season since we drafted him. Never.
I remember him playing that one game against the Cowboys and getting beaten up.
Yeah,
by Jason Witten.
He never played a full season here. He traded guys like Chris Herndon, who sucked. He got capital back for Chris Herndon. Like, it's insane some of the things that he was made. And even if you go back to that Jamal Adams trade, look at what he was able to grab with those picks. One of the guys that he was able to move up and get with those was ATV. And I think some of that capital was used to get Garrett Wilson as well. So when you look at, and there's a couple other guys he was able to make some moves with that capital too. When you look at what we've been able to do, attacking positions of impact, like I was telling people, premium positions. That's why the Jets were bad, because we're not good at premium positions. He addressed wide receiver, premium position, help your quarterback. He addressed, offensive line, premium position, help your quarterback. So when he's doing all these things to set the team up, it's all about setting things up for success. And you can tell, if nothing else, that Joe Douglas has a plan and he will follow it to the T. He will follow it to the T. We were about to get Tyreek Hill. Anybody remember that? We were going to get Tyreek Hill and not give up a first-round pick. That's unbelievable. We were going to get him and not, he literally just chose them. It wasn't that we weren't in the running. It wasn't that the Dolphins weren't, or the Chiefs weren't ready to make the deal happen. No, he made the choice. He said, look, I just want to go play with the Dolphins. That's on him. But we were there at the doorstep, and they were going to open that door and push him out, and we were going to put him in a car and drive him to the facility if he had chosen us. So it's like, that's huge. And to not give up a first-round pick and still be there, unbelievable.
Joe Douglas was probably the best move. He's done a lot for this organization, and still to come. Like, I'm excited for this draft. I know we still got a season to think about, but even thinking about our team getting even better, not even thinking about the offseason free agency, but draft. Yeah. Even at the lower positions, like I didn't even know about Michael Clemens, but looking at him now, I'm like, oh.
Again, that's another guy, Michael Clemens, and we saw him. He made big plays in that Bills game too.
Yep.
Remember, he came down, smacked a running back on, I think it was like on 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 2, and he flooded. He parted the gap, came straight up the gap, boom, smacked the guy, kept him from getting the first down. These are huge plays, and again, we've seen Clemens be within that defensive line rotation. He's been able to go out there and make plays too. He drafted him as well. These are guys coming out and make plays. That's a guy that's a mid-round pick, but has first-round talent that a lot of people just will stand away from because of stuff off the field. Joe Douglas does his due diligence, brings the guy in, and look what he's doing here. So, man, I'll tell you, the Jets, we're in a good space because, and I tell people this, I think the reason why the New York Jets have started to go upward is because we finally have the proper footing on our franchise. We finally do. The biggest issue with the New York Jets, yes, it was talent. We had issues, quarterback, all that. One of the biggest issues with the New York Jets for years was our staff, our franchise. You had Todd Bowles and Mike Maccagnan. Then you had Maccagnan and Gaze. Like, what do you expect to have happen when you have that running your team?
Yep.
It's not going to be good. Then you look at our structure. Our structure was terrible. You had the owner, or you had the coach and the GM reporting to the owner. What? that doesn't work. That's why everything has been changed. Okay, we finally got a general manager with the plan that has been given time to complete that plan, right? Because Joe Douglas is going to be here. I think they gave him like a 6-year contract. He's going to be here. So guess what? Now the structure is Joe Douglas got his coaching. He hires his staff, right? It's in place. He went and got Sulla and LaFleur and Aldridge and all the other guys. Sulla reports to Joe Douglas. Joe Douglas reports to the owner. Done. And look what we're seeing. Success. When you have structure, when you have synergy, when you have everything pointed in the right direction, everyone on the same goal with the same focus, look at what we can achieve. That is the biggest thing that has changed the New York Jets. Yes, we have talent, but all that accumulation of talent, all of that is what? Communication, so that we all know where we're going. I get you the right guys for your scheme so they can give you the right production. That's huge.
You got a good point on that. I didn't even think about that. That is change. I remember them talking about it that all season when Gase got fired, they were talking about, the owner came out and said, we may have to change the structure and stuff like that. And you're right. It makes it less confusing because now you have 2 people reporting up to them instead of 1, 2, 3, like a triangle. You need everything straight. It starts from the top,
You look at this situation. Let me tell you how much of a clown show the New York Jets were at one point. Mike Maccagnan had, if you look at his drafts, one of the reasons why the Jets were atrocious under him outside of like the first year. First year, he went and spent all that money on those free agents and all that stuff. You look at his draft classes, he would cut guys out of his draft class a year after he drafted them. That's why we were so bad for so long, because we kept recovering. It was basically like we had no drafts because we would accumulate no talent. None. yeah, exactly. We would accumulate no talent from those drafts. Guys like Leonard Williams. Leonard Williams was the first-round pick, high in the first round. He didn't play for the Jets. Right? You can keep on going. There were other guys as well that we would draft, and they would be gone a year out. Gone off the team. How do you accumulate talent? You can't. That's why we were constantly spending so much in free agency. Even the guys that he was getting free agency, they weren't at positions of impact. So we would still be bad. We never had a pass rusher worth of anything under him outside of the first year. We never had big offensive linemen to be able to block. I know a lot of people want to dump on Sam Darnold. We didn't set him up for success here. He was hurt quite a bit. Why? Because our offensive line was terrible. We never were able to get anybody to block for him. We didn't have a pass rusher to save our lives under him. Nothing. And he had multiple drafts. I think he had $100 million 3 times here as a general manager. $300 million, and you couldn't find anything that stuck here. Nothing. You look at I'm telling you, go back and look at all the drafts he wasted. None of those guys are here. None. Devin Smith, where's he? Like, this is, you go back and you look at and again, Devin Smith's a 2nd-round pick. You go back and you look at all these drafts, all those guys busted out. They're not here. So what do you get from that? When you look at what Joe Douglas is doing, the first thing he did when he came here, I'm addressing the trenches. He went and got Mekhi Becton, which will when he comes back, I think we'll see the Mekhi Becton that we saw year 1 when he's fully healthy. But he's continued to address the trenches. ATV, right? He's went and addressed it as well in free agency. Tomlinson, he went and grab other guys too. He's making sure that he addresses things to help his quarterback so that guys can be successful here. That's why he went and got Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore. He addressed the tight end position. It's been years since we had we haven't had tight end since Dustin Keller. We got CJ Uzama, Tyler Conklin, Jeremy. He got you multiple tight ends. I'll get you 3 of them. Like, look at the stuff that he's doing. The last time the Jets had a pass rusher was John Abraham. That was years ago. It's like a decade, 2 decades ago. We got Carl Lawson. We got Jermaine Johnson. We got Bryce Huff. We got all these guys. Quinnen Williams is playing to the wall. We're seeing him step up this year. He already got 7 sacks. I mean, he's not a pass rusher, but we're seeing him be an addition to the rush. He's pushing the pocket. So all these things that Joe Douglas has added on the outside, like I talked about, Jermaine Johnson, Carl Lawson, the guys that he's bringing in, man, look at what we're doing. We're playing football like everybody else is in the NFL. We're chasing the passer. We're getting after it now. You know, look at our secondary. Like I said, DJ Reed, Sauce. Like we're making an impact at premium positions. That's why we're good now. That's why we're a better football team than we were yesterday. We have corners, we have pass rushers, we got wide receivers. Our offensive line is banged up, but guys are still playing well, even the backup guys. Positions of impact. He stepped up and made it happen. He's a real general manager. And that's one of the biggest issues with the New York Jets was we didn't have a general manager and we didn't have a coach that could step up and take care of business. And Sulla, I think, has continued to show us that him and his staff are the real deal. You know, and again, we'll continue to figure out with those guys because there's a lot of time left, but they've shown us so far that they look like they're the real deal and they're ready to go.
And they're ready to build this organization.
Yep.
Back to where it needs to be at the top of the AFC East. So I got one more question before we head out for the night. If the Jets, have you seen the thing on Twitter where that guy flipped a coin and he got the predictions right so far on the season?
No, I don't think I've seen that.
There was apparently there's a guy who flipped a coin and so far he's correct on our season so far. He has us going 11-5 and or 11-6, 17, 11-6 and losing in the AFC Championship.
Wow.
I know. But so far he's right. The coin is right. The coin is right. They say we're going to lose to the Patriots after the bye. Hopefully not, but that's what it says. Mm-hmm. But do you think if Sam Darnold had Joe Douglas as his general manager, he would still be on the team? Well, I mean, he did have Sam. I didn't want to trade him.
Are you talking about after? Because Sam was here when Joe was here.
But yeah, but I'm talking about like if he had multiple years with him.
Okay. To be that's a tough question because I don't know if Joe Douglas would have took Sam Darnold in the draft. That's one thing we don't know. Okay, so that's a big thing. Like, and I know because again, I'm a USC guy, and I was over the moon when we took Sam Darnold. I watched Sam all throughout his time here with SC. There was no way in the world that I thought the Browns were going to pass up on Sam Darnold. I had multiple people try to tell me, "Oh, Joe, I think we get," and I shut them down immediately. Bruh, stop. That's not gonna happen. Like, just shut up. You know, I literally told people to shut up. You know, shut up. Yeah, that's not happening.
Look at that draft.
Yeah, and when we got Sam Darnold, man, I mean, people can watch it. It's on my channel, Long Beach Joe Jets, and I was just beside myself. I couldn't believe it. The thing is that let's say if Joe Douglas had taken Sam Darnold, do I think that Sam would have been more successful here? Absolutely. I think he would have been more successful here because I think he would have had a GM that understood how to build around him. Everybody wants to blame Sam Darnold for not succeeding here with the New York Jets, and I get it. Jets fans like to dump on people sometimes, and that's cool. But when you look at Sam Darnold's tenure here, he never had a chance. We did everything that we could to possibly ruin a young quarterback at that time, right? What are the 3 things you need to help a young quarterback progress? Solid running game, right? Protection / weapons, good coaching. You gave him Adam Gase. That killed it from a coaching perspective. You deaded him right there. Honestly, bad coaching will ruin a quarterback. I don't give a damn how good he is, right? If you give him bad enough coaching, he'll be dead in the water. You gave him Adam Gase. So that right there shows you we had no protection. He was running for his life every year that he was here. He was hurt quite a bit as well because he was getting hit so much. Remember that. I mean, you remember when we played the Patriots that seeing was it
Seeing
I
Ghost?
see Ghost? Yeah.
Yep.
Does anybody remember why that was? They were literally running an all-out blitz,
Yes.
and Adam Gase didn't know how to stop it. They were running it midfield. Do you know how
Yep.
disrespectful that is? I'm just sending everybody midfield, and I bet you won't be able to figure it out. And they did it over and over and over. He did it like 7 times, 8 times in a row. That was literally the call. I'm just sending everybody. And the Jets front couldn't block it, and they couldn't figure out how to stop it or how to get the ball out to anybody. Mind you, these guys are wide open because nobody's out there. They're sending pretty much everybody. That's literally the call. We're sending everybody. They couldn't stop it. So when you don't protect him, you can't run the football effectively because your O-line can't open up any holes. How do you expect a quarterback to really be good here? You can't. You can't. We didn't have many weapons. Robbie was one of the closest we had to a weapon. He was wildly inconsistent when he was here. Robbie never had 1,000 yards here, ever.
Nope.
So how do you expect Sam to be good? You can't. But there's a lot of Jets fans that don't want to admit that we did a lot to jack him up. But, you know, he went with the Panthers and he's doing stuff over there. I just look at it now like we're in such a better space now, and we have a general manager, and it sucks. It sucked. I couldn't stand that we did Sam like that. I wish him nothing but the best in his career. Again, I love Sam. He's SC. I'm always going to have love for him. I'm always going to, wish him the best. But I am so glad that we have a general manager here now that has a plan and that we're in a better space, with the staff that understands what time it is. And everybody is pointing in the same direction. That is huge for our franchise.
It is huge. And this has been a good season. I was definitely not expecting this. I was hoping for the best, but this has been lights out. This has been better than I expected. And I don't want to say it in front of you because I know you're a one game type of guy, but we go into the playoffs, guys. We go into the playoffs. Let's go, Jets. Thank you, Long Beach Joe, again for coming.
Absolutely.
I would definitely love to do this again and have my face up here next time. But thank you so much. I appreciate it. Guys, go please subscribe to Long Beach Joe. He makes awesome content on his channel. Like I said, I've been watching him for a long time. He's a great YouTuber. He does live streams, podcasts, and all of it. And go subscribe to him. And thanks for coming and watching it. And have a good day.